Feeling overwhelmed? Searching for someone who truly gets it? At J. Branch and Associates, we provide mental health support for BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others facing unique challenges. We understand the weight of generational trauma, the struggles of identity, and the pressures of being a part of an underestimated and overlooked group. At J. Branch and Associates, therapy isn't a one-size-fits-all. We create a safe, culturally aware space where you can feel seen, heard, and understood. Finding a therapist who truly fits you matters, and that's exactly what we're here for. Our team of highly trained licensed therapists bring compassion, empathy, and real-world experience to help you on your journey to healing and growth. We're committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. Ready to take the next step? Visit us at www.drjbranch.com for more information, or call or text 404-436-2540 to schedule your free 15-minute consultation. You can also book your first session today. Thank you for choosing J. Branch and Associates, therapists of color providing exceptional care to BIPOC communities, quality service, exceptional care from authentic professionals.
Three parallels. Yeah. Three parallels. Yeah. Three parallels.
Three Parallel Podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. Welcome back to the show, and I got something for y'all. As you know, I be crunk, no matter what, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, I be on 25 more often than not. And today's show, it's a continuation from what we just discussed with Dr. Lyons. And before we dive into that, I got to give my disclaimer, because there are some of you that may be new listeners. Some of you may be old. Some of you may be in between. And I don't know what's going to happen today. I have no idea. I usually know how the show is going to start. I know how it's going to end. What happens in between, I have no idea. It's just organic. How organic? I mean, Chiquita Banana or Dole. Put a sticker on my forehead. We are organic. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I want you to be prepared. So you're going to need a notebook. Something you can write with, because there's going to be a lot of gems dropped from your boy, from the host. If you didn't get gems from the last episode, re-listen, because every episode is giving you something. And to me, the something that you get, you can do something with. And I'm just going to give you me, and you can do whatever you choose with what I give you. So let's set the stage, the location. I'm coming to you live from Battlecat Studios. Yes, my home podcast studio. And right now, I'm watching Belly in the background talking to you. For those who don't know, Belly is a movie that came out in 98. I was in high school at the time, and it was one of the greatest, and to me, to this day, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. Hype Williams, DMX, Nas, like this, it's everything to me. So it's in the background because that's the mood that I'm in. So usually I have a movie or TV show in the background happening while I'm talking to you, because it gets me in my space to create. I hope you have a space that you can create. If not, create it. Ooh, that was good. Disclaimer: this show is not an episode for therapy, okay? Don't try to use this show like this. I'm Dr. Branch, that's my therapist. No, I am not, unless I am. And if I am, what up, baby? And if I'm not, hey, I'll let your boy. So not being a substitute for therapy means you need a therapist. You could benefit from a therapist. I think every and anybody can benefit from a therapist, just like every and anybody can benefit from going to the gym. Same deal. We're just dealing with the head instead of the body. So I would challenge you to get you a new therapist, get you a better therapist, or dive deeper with your current therapist. Either way it go, work on you. That's what the show is about. It's working on us. It's listening to others, listening to me, hearing stories, hearing ideas to help you become the best version of you possible. That is it. That is all. So get your notebook. On top of getting you a therapist. In addition to, I want to get some flowers. So Dr. Lyons, the show was phenomenal, impactful. And this is the first time I ever met a Black male who happened to be a president of 6 different institutions in the U.S., all HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. And this man poured life into me, and I expect that he did the same for you. If not, go back and listen again because he drops so many gems. And today's episode is one of the gems that was dropped during the episode earlier this week. So I want to do some housekeeping before we dive in. And part of the housekeeping is an announcement. Yes, this is happening in real time. So this Friday, we're having Gator Talk. What's Gator Talk? Gator Talk is an opportunity for you to connect with me live and other listeners of the show live on Zoom. So we'll meet virtually on Zoom. We haven't gotten to the webinar yet. We'll get there. So the webinar, you may not have a lot of interaction as far as verbally being able to have access to talk. But here you do, because we're still young. We're still new to this, but we're growing. So catch on while you can. So this Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, we are getting together on Zoom. You have access to that, to the link in the description, in the bio. And if you don't, log on Zoom. The meeting room number is the number to get connected with me. And that's my business phone number. So if you want to call, text, reach out 404-436-2540. That's the same number to get into the Zoom room. There's no passcode. I just want easy access for you to get in and you to get this love, because that's all I'm giving is love. You can do whatever you choose to do with it. So Gator Talk this Friday coming up. I want to see you there. I want to hear you. I want to connect with you. We've been rocking and rolling for 3 months, y'all. 3 months. We've been working, we've been building, we've been growing, we've been changing. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear how this show has impacted you directly or indirectly. I want to know about it. And being on this Gator Talk conversation on Zoom is one way that you can share your experiences with me. I would love to hear it, because I don't know what y'all getting and what y'all don't unless you tell me. I just know what feels good to me, and all of this does. So whether you listening or not, I like it. Okay, so protocol has been established. Also, like, follow, share, subscribe, like, comment, like, really get into it. Y'all getting this energy, y'all getting this love, and you be quiet, sitting on your hands. Oh man, this is so good. Dr. Franz, he cool, blah, blah, blah. I want to hear it. I'm serious. I'm an only child. I like hearing things. Words of affirmation is my love language. Talk to me. I've been talking to you for the last 3 months. Holla at your boy. So it is March, right? Therefore, we are marching forward. We just got through Black History Month. It was a great Black History Month for Black folks and all those in between. If it wasn't, you got to check on you, because life is going to be lifing, okay? Life will always life, and life is the things that happen outside of us. It's how we perceive it. All right. So it's going to be a great month. You know why? Because I said so. It's going to be a great day. You know why? Because I said so. So whenever you listen to this, give yourself permission to challenge doing something different by speaking life into existence. So I'm speaking it's going to be a great month, and I'm telling you that now. And I'll be able to confirm that by the end of the month, if I'm still here. God willing, the creek don't rise. All right. Last thing, and I'm going to shut up. I promise. Today, no. But one day. Dr. Lyons, oh man, he blessed me. I hope he blessed you with the last episode, and I wanted to give him some flowers because he has a book, and his book is available now on Amazon. Hop on Amazon, check out the book. It's a great read. Also, the Gator Scales Journal is available for purchase. If you want to dive into that, if you don't have a notebook, if you do, get a composition book, something around the house, whatever you have, because I want you to write down some gems, because I'm going to hit you in the head with a honey bun. So we got all of that out the way, which was a lot, but I had to give it to you, because if I don't, how you gonna know? Now let's dive into the episode. Compromise versus sacrifice. Ooh, I'm so excited, because you don't know what's going to happen, and I don't either. But I do know there's a difference between compromising and sacrificing, and I want to break down both of these, because what Dr. Lyons mentioned that really stood out to me, it was a lot of things that he mentioned, but one particular thing that he shared that really hit home for me was he had a friend that asked him, "Hey man, can I, I have a partner, my wife would love to connect with your wife to find out, like, what was it like for her to choose to put her career to the side to follow you in your footsteps and your dreams of being this college president, because there was a lot of moving parts, and she decided to, you know, follow the lead of her husband and kind of put her career to the side. And that stood out to me, because big up to Mrs. Lyons for choosing her husband, for choosing to follow the path. And, it looked like it worked out. It paid off for all of them. And that really stood out to me. And for some people, it depends on who you ask. For some people, they will look at Mrs. Lyons' contribution as a sacrifice. And for me, I looked at it as a compromise. And that's what I want to talk about today. So that discussion from the previous episode led to this episode, which leads to wherever we about to go today. So let's talk about it. I want to give you some definitions. Now, I'm not a wordsmith. I just do the best I can with what I have. But the word compromise means to reach an agreement by giving up something in order to find common ground, which is different from sacrifice. Sacrifice is the offering of material possessions or the lives or animals or humans as an act of propitiation or worship. Let me break that out. Again, I told you not a wordsmith. I'm trying, doing the best I can what I have. The action of propitiation or appeasing a god, a spirit, or a person. So when I think sacrifice, that means I'm giving up or offering of myself as a person to appease someone else, God, spirit, person, period. So for me, in my house, I no longer sacrifice. It's been a long time since I sacrificed anything, because I don't sacrifice. I compromise more often than not. Let me break those things down. When I think about sacrifice, I think about falling on the sword, right? So I'm giving up me. I'm hurting me to help somebody else. I need y'all to hear it. I have to give up something of me that belongs to me, that's mine, to somebody else for their benefit. That doesn't work for me anymore. So I stopped doing that. I start compromising. I'm reaching an agreement to give something up in order to find common ground. So when I think about Miss Lyons, she compromised, meaning she chose to reach an agreement. Hey, if I'm gonna roll with you, you gotta make sure we good. And Dr. Lyons made sure they were good. She compromised. She didn't sacrifice because she chose to. There's a difference. And I think for many of us, we sacrifice more often than not because we believe we have to. It's honorable. However, you're giving something up that you really don't want to give up. That's what makes it a sacrifice. Compromise, I'm choosing to move differently in order to get something in return. Sacrifice is the appeasement, right? So I'm appeasing a person or God or a spirit based off of beliefs, because unless you met God, met this spirit, or met this person, it's an idea. And I hope I'm not going too deep. I hope you're still with me. But I want to give some examples of what this looks like. Say, for instance, a relationship, right? So within a relationship, and many of us are in relationships. I'm in several relationships. I happen to be in a relationship that's called a marriage, and within my marriage, we have conversations where we choose to compromise or sacrifice, and I'm compromising way more than sacrificing because we are reaching an agreement. But I want you to look at compromise and sacrifice in a different way, and it's not about external, meaning other people, but about myself. And more often than not, we sacrifice ourselves for the greater good of other people, although we're upset about it. That doesn't make sense to me. So if I'm choosing to give up something, then, or if I'm choosing to let go of something, then that's me being intentional about my decision, because there's something on the other side of this for me. Sacrifice, I'm just doing this for you. Forget me. There's a difference. So I want you to look at life in a new or different way related to compromise and sacrifice. And believe, to me, when I think about sacrifice, I think about the struggle we all have with the word selfish. We all have. I can't say all. Many of us have it. And when we think about the word selfish, we break out in hives. We feel real uncomfortable. We don't like using the word selfish. We don't say the word selfish. We do everything in our power not to be perceived as being selfish because there's a negative connotation around it. The reality is people believe whatever they want to believe about whatever word that you choose. So if I feel some kind of way about the word sacrifice, then I may not say it, and I'm definitely not going to do it. And what I mean by do it is taking care of yourself, putting you first, doing things for you, thinking about you, thinking about you and you only first. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about first. I'm not saying F everybody else. I'm saying, what about you first? So for me, I stopped using the word sacrifice because of the negative connotation around it. And instead of saying sacrifice, instead of saying selfish, I start saying putting myself first. Because when you put yourself first, that means you take care of you and then you can take care of everybody else. But when I say selfish, that means I take care of me and me only, F everybody else. That's a belief. That's not the reality. We are so powerful with our minds, with our narrative, with our thoughts and what we do. And sometimes the rules that we live by are based off of old versions of us, not the current. The old version of you uses old language. Selfish is an old language, right? It's an old belief. It's an old idea. I don't want to be selfish. And that idea about I don't want to be selfish is not even what you think about yourself. It's about what other people think about you. I hope this is not too much or too confusing. The reason you don't do things for you is because you don't want people to perceive you a certain way. That's what selfish looks like. It's a belief about what people think. And the reality is, people going to think what the hell they want to about you anyway, whether you put yourself first or not. They're going to think, and they're entitled to it. You know why? Because human beings have the ability to think. Human beings have a perspective, and they don't mind sharing it. Human beings will always let you know what they think you should be doing with your life. Ooh, I told y'all. I told y'all what was going to happen today. I ain't know, but we talking about it. So, sacrifice within my relationship. My partner wants to do something that I don't want to do, but I choose to do it anyway. That's sacrifice. Compromise is my partner wants to do something that I don't want to do. We have a conversation about it. Hey, we can do this, but we can do this. And what else can you offer? What else can we do together in this? If I go to this party with you, can we go to the movies later or this weekend, whatever? The difference is if it's a sacrifice, there's nothing in it for me. I'm doing this for this person. But if there's compromise, it works best for both of us. There's a difference. And more often than not, we've been taught to sacrifice. Think about your life right now. You've sacrificed a lot, mainly for family. Oh, we going there already. Think about your parents. Think about your family. Think about your culture, your background, your upbringing. More often than not, we put everybody ahead of us because we don't want anybody to think of us in a different way than we want people to think of us, even though we don't have any control over that. Just want to talk about facts. We perceive that we have control based off of what we do. So we sacrifice ourselves for the greater good because of perception. That's it. That's the reason you sacrifice. Think about you and your children if you have them, or your dog if you have one, or them. It's sacrifice. I'm putting me to the side for them or that person or that culture, that community. It doesn't work for me anymore. It works for the old version of me, but the current version of me, it doesn't work for, but I keep doing it and it keeps hurting me. So now I'm doing this thing that I don't want to do, and I'm doing it, and it's not in the most healthiest way, which means I'm pouting. I'm upset. I can't wait to get back at them. I can't wait till this thing over with. I knew I shouldn't have came. This is stupid. You've heard it. You've said it. You may be on your way right now. Listen to this podcast, finna do something you don't want to do. Sacrifice. Just need you to see it. Compromise is I'm going to do what works best for me. Does this work for you as well? It's an arrangement. It's an agreement. It's a conversation. I'm not falling on the sword, but I got my sword out. And you know what's with it? A shield. Some of us just keep falling on the sword. Man, well, my mama said, they need me down at such and such. Well, I got to do such and such. They need me at the church. They need me here. They need me there. Don't nobody need you when you're dead. Just want to talk about facts. Think about it. Who's dead that's needed? Nobody. Nobody. Yeah, I need them. I want them, but I can't have them. They're not here. And sometimes I challenge myself to do the same. I'm not here. I'm not available. I don't have the space. I don't have the time because I'm choosing me over you. Why? Because there is no us without me. I can't give to you if I'm not willing to give to myself first. Not saying not give it to you at all, but I got to take care of me first. And for many of us, we've been plagued with this belief that we're not allowed to do that. But there are no rules or no laws, no rules or no laws besides the ones that you create. And we've created tons of them and still live by them, even though they don't apply to us to this day. You living from rules from the 80s, the 70s, the 90s, the 2000s. We in 2025. Why am I still having my dessert last? Ooh, we finna go there. We finna go there. We finna go there. Let me give you an example. Compromise, sacrifice. Living by rules. You guys, excuse me. I'm a little under the weather, but I told you I gotta get to you. Many of us eat our dessert last. Why? Because that's what we were taught and told as kids. Make sure you eat all your food first. Don't touch your dessert. You don't eat your dessert. Don't eat your cake. Don't touch that. Don't eat no sweets until you finish your food. That was for us as children. Here you are as an adult and you don't touch your dessert until you're finished with your food. I want to break this down. When we were kids, yeah, we didn't know our stomachs that well. We would just eat until we recognize, oh my God, I can't eat no more. But as an adult, you know your stomach better than anybody else. You looking at it now. You touch it now. You touch it now. You know your stomach better than anybody else. So why am I still eating my dessert last? Because of the rules, laws that was created by someone or something that does not apply to the current version of me. Today, you can change that. I would challenge you to have your dessert first. What's the reason you wouldn't? A belief, an idea, something you told yourself, not the facts. Because you can eat anything at any time. The only reason we do or don't is what we were taught and told, what we believe, compromise and sacrifice. Think about breakfast. You have an idea of what breakfast is and what breakfast isn't. It's a belief because anything counts as breakfast, lunch, or dinner based on the person. I told you, man. I'm just here to give it to you. You can do whatever you choose to do, right? Think about it. Cost of eggs right now. People start changing how they do breakfast. Let me talk. I'm sorry. Let me talk about me. I change how I do breakfast now because of the cost of eggs. I used to buy, I don't know how many dozen eggs, but it was like $20. Now that same $20 for several dozens of eggs is $50. I was like, yep, I'm finna do egg whites. I ain't did egg whites my whole life. I do now because I'm not finna pay $50 for no egg. I can't do it, boo boo. I'm gonna do these egg whites though, and they taste just as good. A little salt, a little pepper, a little cheese, and we good. So I've changed my breakfast because of the external factors that's going on that I don't want to sacrifice. I compromise. What's the compromise? Still get breakfast, still have eggs. What's the reality? Eggs does not equate to just being breakfast. Some people eat eggs all day long. For some people, that's all they eat, eggs. Period. My sister can't even, she hates the word eggs. And that's why I'm saying it so much, just to get on her nerve, because I know she's listening. Hey, Aaron. Yeah, I'm talking about you. So, breakfast is whatever you say it is. Lunch is whatever you say it is. Dessert is whatever you say it is. We put these ideas and beliefs around food. It's whatever you say it is. So if that's the reality about food, then think about the reality around the words of compromise and sacrifice. It's the same thing. So your life work this week. Have your dessert first. Whatever it is, could be eggs. Could be chocolate cake, could be cream, a cheesecake, could be whatever. All right. But I want to challenge you because we have to start breaking the rules. And these rules are the things that we live by that doesn't serve the current version of us. They may have served the old version. Again, that child that didn't know their stomach, but it doesn't serve the adult who knows their stomach very well. Challenge yourself to do things new, different, and uncomfortable. How often? Every day. I want to share more examples. Compromise versus sacrifice. You ever had that group of people that, we gonna go on a trip together? Yeah, it's a girl's trip, it's a guy's trip, it's a this trip, it's a that trip, and there's maybe 20 of y'all finna make this trip. And the closer you get to that trip, that 20 goes down. And by the time the day of the trip, it goes from 20 to 2. And when I mean 2, it's the current you and the old you. Because ain't nobody going but you. And what happens when you do schedule these trips or you have these plans or these ideas and don't nobody want to go or people don't put their money up? We end up not going. That is a sacrifice. So I chose to put my fun on hold or put me to the side. Although financially I'm good, I'm ready. Although we catching flights, not feelings, right? You ready? Be careful on these flights. Real talk. Sidebar. Be careful out here in these flying streets. Okay. It's a little different now. Back to the show. If you really think about it, how often have you wanted to do things, brought everybody and their mama with you to go, and the last minute people drop off? Or they no call, no show. Folks still owe you money from trips from the 90s and the 2000s. You've lost friendships over these types of trips. Imagine what you lost of yourself because you chose to sacrifice. Compromise is I'm going to this location at this time. If you like to join me, this how much it costs. I'll see you there. That's compromise. We're having a different conversation. Sacrifice is no matter the conversation that we have, I choose you over me. And it hurts me to choose you over me. That's a sacrifice. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm speaking it from this version of me now, and you can catch up if you want, or you can still fall on the sword. You get to decide how often, every day. Because every day we compromise or we sacrifice. Let's go further because you can relate to the vacation, you can relate to the friends and people that want to go. Let's go a little further. Family, events and activities. You said you were going to be here. It's such and such birthday party. It's a bar mitzvah. It's this. It's the family reunion. You gotta go. You gotta be there. Says who? Who said I gotta be there? Hmm. Mom and them. We gotta talk about it because for many of us, whatever mom and them says goes. How is that the case when I'm an adult just like they are? Hmm. How is that the case? And for many of us, we forget that our parents are people too. They're adults just like you are. They just happen to have the label of being your parent. They just happen to have birthed you or raised you, whatever the case may be. But they're an adult just like you are. They got problems just like you got. These are facts. We don't think about it like that because this person happened to be my mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, whomever. But they got problems. They're grown just like we grown. So we have to start acting like grown folks and not dumbing ourselves down or bringing ourselves down to the kiddie table when it's time to be grown folks at the big boy table, big girl table, big person table. So for many of us grew up in a household where, it's best to be seen and not heard. You sit at the little boy, little girl, little person table until you're invited to the big boy table. And many of us are good and grown. I'm talking about rusty grown and still sitting at that literal, figurative kids table as an adult because we're still living by the rules of the past that does not serve us currently. That's an example of sacrifice. Compromise is, hey, we need to have a courageous conversation. I'm supposed to be at this table. You know why? Because I'm grown just like you. Let go. It's hard to talk to your parents as an adult when you talk to them thinking from yourself as a child. One of the hardest conversations I had with my mother and my father in different times, different places, was to let them know who I was because they only saw me in one way as their little son, young son. But I'm a grown ass man who happens to be your son. We had to have that conversation in the most professional, respectful way possible. We had to have several conversations until they were able to see me as a grown ass man. And now they do. And there's no question about it. I'm at the big boy table, and more often than not, I tell them to have a seat. Now, I don't get away with it for real, but I at least try to tell them. But you can't tell your parents nothing, just like they can't tell us nothing. But they do, and we listen, and we do whatever they say. Why? Because of the belief, honor thy mother and thy father. Who says or who defines what that means? We do. You say honor, I'm sorry, it's said to honor them, but that means they can disrespect me? What part of the game is that? Make it make sense. Make it consistent. We can't. So we just comply, sacrifice. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? If not, open your eyes, open your ears, open your heart. I want to challenge you to just begin looking at things in a new and different way. It's okay to compromise. To me, it's no longer okay to sacrifice. So therefore, you have to reintroduce yourself to yourself, meaning this current version of you instead of the kitty version of you who still doesn't eat their dessert first. You have to start making room for you before you ever reintroduce yourself to somebody else. You got to reintroduce yourself to yourself. So you have to get up from the kitty table to sit at the grown folk table, even before they even know you're there. And that's hard. That's hard to do because we've been wired to believe that we can't. The reality is you can do whatever the hell you want to do. I just want to talk about facts. Right now in this country, in this society, if you're in the US, if you're in other places, I can't speak on that. But in the US, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. And if you look at what's going on in our society right now, people are doing whatever the hell they want to do. Just want to talk about facts. Just want to talk about it because we're not talking about it. Last but not least, relationships, marriage, partnerships, situationships, same thing. Am I compromising or am I sacrificing? I'm interested and I'm ready for marriage. This person has had me on the line for years. That's sacrifice. I got to talk about it. If I step on your toes, I do not apologize. You're in this relationship, you want more, but you subject yourself to the least that you get, and it's enough. Sacrifice. You're falling on the sword. You want more, you want better, but you don't believe you can have it, or you don't want to start over. So you stay in these unhealthy relationships, this unhealthy marriage, unhealthy partnership, unhealthy situationship, and you stay. And your core, your future self is like, get out of there now. Your old self was like, ain't nobody out here better. I don't know. These streets it's rough out here. These are beliefs. These are not facts because you're not in these streets. You're hearing the stories of other people, but everybody is not having bad experiences with dating. Even those who are having bad experiences dating, that's what it is, an experience. It's an experience. And if you think about life, it's full of experiences. The issue that we have is that we stop or give up, or we live in fear, sacrifice, that prevents us from stepping outside of our comfort zone to do something new, different, uncomfortable, to get new, different results. You will stay in that horrible relationship until you decide it's enough. That's what compromise look like. We're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to let you know who I am, who I was, and who I'm trying to become. But before you have that conversation with that person, you got to have that conversation with yourself. And many of us haven't had it yet. Why? Because we're afraid. We're terrified of what if versus figuring out what is. There's a difference. What if are all the beliefs and ideas that you have in your head of things that can go wrong. What is are the things that will actually happen when you take action. But you'll never do it because sacrifice is greater than the compromise. You get to decide. And I will challenge you to make a decision today. Make a decision today based off of the person that you're trying to become. So ask yourself, the future version of me, what would he do? What would she do? What would they do? And I promise it's not what you're currently doing. This has been another episode of the Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we try to become. Listen, If this episode has done anything for you at all, give it away. Don't keep it. You know somebody in a horrible relationship? So if you know somebody, I'm sorry, you know somebody who's in a horrible relationship, send this episode to them. Don't even give them no free nothing. Just send it to them and hush. Girl. Listen to this. Dr. Brand, she on there wilding. They don't know. The secret is you trying to get them to get out of their space. But before you even send it to somebody else, send it to yourself. What space you in that you're stuck in? Sacrificing instead of compromising. I hope this episode does whatever it needed to do for you to allow yourself to step outside your comfort zone and have your dessert first. Imagine the world and the life and relationship that you could have when you choose you first. Have a good day, good night, good morning, good weekend, good whatever. I will see you Friday. I hear you Friday. Much love. Be blessed by the best. Peace.
Feeling overwhelmed? Searching for someone who truly gets it? At J. Branch & Associates, we provide mental health support for BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others facing unique challenges. We understand the weight of generational trauma, the struggles of identity, and the pressures of being a part of an underestimated and overlooked group. At J. Branch & Associates, therapy isn't a one-size-fits-all. We create a safe, culturally aware space where you can feel seen, heard, and understood. Finding a therapist who truly fits you matters, and that's exactly what we're here for. Our team of highly trained licensed therapists bring compassion, empathy, and real-world experience to help you on your journey to healing and growth. We're committed to helping you become the best version of yourself. Ready to take the next step? Visit us at www.drjbranch.com for more information, or call or text 404-436-2540 to schedule your free 15-minute consultation. You can also book your first session today. Thank you for choosing J. Branch & Associates, therapists of color providing exceptional care to BIPOC communities, quality service, exceptional care from authentic professionals.